Second baseman, Nick Joseph. Pitcher, number 5, left fielder, number 27. Shortstop, number 4, Slim.
You want to come up here? Just on top of this?
Catcher, number 17, Kowalski. Third baseman, number 44, Field. First baseman, number 8, Reed. Right fielder, number 15, Yell. Center fielder, number 1, Lightning. And coach is Jackson Bell. Right fielder, number 8, Jamarcus Wilson. Left fielder, number 34, David Thomas. First baseman, number 43, Cameron Smiley. Center fielder, number 13, Nic Joseph. Shortstop, number 23, Jordan McDaniel. Catcher, number 6, Tanner Boyd. Designated hitter, number 10, Weis Knightly. Third baseman, number 4, Jack Gibney. Second baseman, number 21, Weston Campbell. Pitcher, number 27, Cameron Smiley. And coach Steve.
Welcome everybody to opening day for Central Penn baseball here at FNB Field. Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger here with you for the Nightly News Media Club. We will be your exclusive home for Knights baseball here in 2026. And just to start off, Steve, this early part of the season has been a little bit of a nightmare for the Knights, no pun intended, only being able to play 2 of 8 scheduled games thus far because of that massive snowstorm. And here we are on opening day at about 37 degrees, first pitch.
Yeah, I know the guys are just anxious to be taking the field, and we do have a bright, sunny day here. Honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. When I was getting dressed to come over here, I kind of felt like I was getting ready to go out deer hunting or something with all the layers on and the toe warmers and the gloves and so forth, but it's really not that bad right now.
I'm just very lucky I got a heated jacket for Christmas that I'm representing today. Hopefully, games later this week. We'll be back here with you Friday and Sunday and a week from today with more Knights baseball, 8 consecutive home contests here at FNB Field. Cameron Smiley is going to take them out. He, of course, was one of the dominant pitchers for Central Penn a year ago. And so hopefully Cam is able to carry along that success he had last season, already working on the curveball in warm-ups.
And Cameron Smiley has pitched 1 game so far this year. He went 3 1/3 innings, gave up 4 earned runs on 5 hits and 3 walks with 5 strikeouts. So looking to get it going against Patrick Henry today.
And Steve, in fairness, they did play PSAC Clarion University, did drop both of those, so the Knights are coming in here 0-2, looking to get on the right track against Patrick Henry. Just generally speaking, folks, we don't really have a whole lot of information about Patrick Henry. So we're going to do the best we can with what we have, but we don't have a record or anything along those lines to give you on Patrick Henry. But Wilson steps in. Wilson, the right fielder today. And the first pitch is a strike on the outside corner.
And Paul, we learned from Athletic Director Casey Hicks before the game here that Patrick Henry is actually student-led. They have 3 student coaches.
Certainly interesting. I'm not really sure how that would work out, but hey, why not give it a shot, right?
Hey, kudos to those students for...
Maybe graduate students, I'm assuming?
I don't know.
And as you might see out in right field, the scoreboard is not operational as of yet. Obviously, the Senators and much of the East Coast is well behind where they might like to be at this point in the season.
And in spite of that, the field looks like it's in great shape.
Absolutely. And he goes down on strikes. Cameron Smiley with the strikeout of Wilson. My apologies, folks. That was Bell.
So good start for Smiley. And type of game is that, since they haven't been able to play really yet this year, except for against Division II Clarion, as you mentioned, this is a good game for them to kind of get their feet under them and, see how they can get off on a good start here.
Well, we will be taking you around the diamond. We do have a first base view. We have a high home view, and of course our main view here behind home plate. We'll take you around the diamond as we go. Quickly 0-2 for Smiley. Beautiful day here at FNB Field. Definitely on the chilly side, but just fights it off. A little on chilly side, but like Steve said, the wind is not so significantly a factor. That sun is out if it can stay from behind those clouds. I think we have a nice little window here in the high 30s with light wind that we should be able to get this in without freezing to death, Steve.
I think so.
And he strikes him out with a fastball on the corner. Back-to-back Ks for Smiley.
Good start for Smiley. He's got good control and looks sharp on those first two hitters. And last year, we had the sounds of construction going on in the background while we were playing. The construction is finished and got a beautiful, beautiful new facility as part of FNB here.
In steps Hope. Hope is the left fielder today. Cullum the pitcher today, who just went down on strikes. And right down Broadway for strike 2.
No solid contact against Smiley so far.
And the pitch, just inside. 1-2 count. Smiley 1 strike away from striking out the side here in the home opener. And he struck him out with the curveball. 3 up, 3 down with 3 straight strikeouts to start the season home debut for Cam Smiley. As we go to the bottom of the first, it'll be 0-0.
And Weis Markets is back as our sponsor this year. Weis Markets proudly supports our military. As a thank you for our appreciation, Weis Markets offers a 10% discount on participating Weis brand products every Thursday to all active duty, reserve, retired, and military veterans. Thank you for your service. See the store for more details. Eat better, spend less. That's Weis.
And of course, we want to thank Weis Markets for being our season-long sponsor for both our basketball and baseball seasons. So listeners out there, you're going to be hearing lots about Weis Markets this season. We're going to take just a short break. We'll be back here with you. Fans from last season will know that Thomas, McCoy, and Joseph, quite a formidable. Oh, and the ball gets by him at first. And Wilson will advance.
Yeah, low throw that the first baseman just couldn't dig out there. Tom's still looking for his first hit on the year, 0 for 7 so far, but we know those hits are coming.
Absolutely, Steve, and we will go over some of the statistics from last season. David Thomas hit .419 with a .519 on base percentage, 2 home runs, 28 RBIs, and 20 walks in 34 games. Again, Wilson all the way from Texas on second base. I'm curious what he thought about the winner, and there he goes.
And that ball's going to go into left field.
At least
shortstop knocked it down.
Yeah, at least he was able to keep it in front of him there, and a stolen base.
Go, DT.
So 2-1, but already a runner in scoring position with no one out. Straight back.
He was right on that pitch, but just missed it.
And this has got to be a tough spot for the Knights too, Steve, seeing as they haven't played competitively for nearly a month.
Yeah, like I said, just anxious to get back on the field and see what they can do here today, get going with the season.
And he struck him out. David Thomas's early season struggles continue, but he should have a few more opportunities to get back on base. Got him with the off-speed pitch, did Cullum. And Tanner McCoy, interestingly enough, Steve, when I was looking at today's statistics, even though only 2 games, in fairness, Tanner McCoy leads the entire USCAA in batting average.
Well, 714 is a pretty high batting average ball.
And I believe in those 2 contests, he went 5 for 7.
He did.
It's an incredible start. So, I mean, it didn't seem like it was an issue with the bats against Clarion. It was more the issue of the pitching. And, of course, we have Smiley, but it remains to be seen what the Knights are going to do over the next 8 days with their starters. I would imagine Smiley would pitch at least one of those. And there's a shot to left, but foul. Still, Wyatt Kozer's status up in the air. We really don't have much of an update other than to say that he has not pitched at this point in the season, and we don't really have any further information other than if he's not able to play, that's a huge hole in the Knights' rotation.
Yeah, the Knights are going to really miss Wyatt if he's not able to pitch.
And inside, and the ball gets away from the catcher.
Yeah, good stop by the catcher there. He couldn't find it at first, but it just rolled a few feet away.
Pleasure to be here with you, Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger for the Nightly News here at FNB Field. If you're in the vicinity, we are playing 2 today, so come on out. Second game should start in around the vicinity of 4 o'clock. We'll be back here with you Friday afternoon for 2 and 4 games, and Sunday afternoon, and then next Wednesday as well. So we've got 8 home games in 8 days, Steve. I know that I will be joined by the one and only Parker Rose on Sunday. Looking forward to that, but you'll be with me all those other games, so looking forward to having you.
Yeah, and Parker will do a great job, too.
Nightly News Hall of Famer Parker Rose, I might add. And there's a slow dribbler. He would have been best to see if that went foul.
Well, he called it foul.
That's a strange play because, first of all, from our vantage point, it definitely did not look foul.
Yeah,
However, if I'm the third baseman there, you almost have no chance to make that play at first or home. You're best off just eating that ball. Especially in the first inning with only 1 out.
Yeah, it was very close, and it definitely was going to go foul, but it looked like he was fielding it close to fair territory there.
Very questionable call. And again, McCoy would have gotten another base hit there. And McCoy waited on that one, but skies it to right. This is going to be a tough play, and that's out of play. Down the first base line, hit the net.
Yeah, it certainly would have been deep enough to score the run if the right fielder had a play on it, but did hit the net.
So Wilson made it to third with no one out. Can the Knights push him in to get their first run here at FNB Field? So again, this stretch of home games here is the Knights do have 7 home contests dates, 6 at FNB, and they've already have 1 game scheduled against arch rival Bucks County at CD East on April the 19th. And there is a shot to left, but he just was in front of it. Another foul ball for Tanner McCoy.
Yeah, 2 balls in this at bat that he's hit really hard, but he just got out in front of a little bit, pulled him down the left field line.
And Steve, I'll tell you, if I was Tanner, I would have definitely taken a screenshot of that stat saying he was leading the USCAA in batting average with a 714 average.
Well, let's see if he can increase that a little bit here.
And he pops it straight up, but the sun could cause an issue, and that looks like it's going into the Knights' dugout, out of play.
Off the roof of the dugout. Long at bat here for Tanner. Tanner shaking his head like, I just want to put one in play here.
Call him, to his credit, has pitched pretty well. And listen, this is the top part of the Knights' order is right up there with anyone in the entire USCAA, in my opinion. Of course, I may be a little biased, but there's another foul ball, and Wilson almost got tagged over there at third. You always got to keep your head on the swivel when you're on the base paths.
You do. And you're right about this top half of the order here. Nic Joseph on deck, so it doesn't get any easier after this.
Definitely some new faces this year, and of course we do want to give a shout out to Colton Zerby, who actually works here at FNB Field. We just saw him around earlier, and of course Owen Zell have both graduated and are going to be sorely missed. We did speak about that on the podcast. Of course, you can always go to our YouTube channel right here where you're watching that and check in on that baseball preview. Coach Stevens was on, Roniel Morrell, Kyle Brent were all on the show. Roniel in the starting lineup. Kyle, I'm assuming will be in the Game 2 lineup. Straight back, just above our heads. And that's 4 consecutive foul balls for Tanner McCoy.
See if Tanner can level off on one here. Get that runner in for third.
High, and he walks him. That will certainly improve the on-base percentage. And Steve, I gotta be honest with you, as an aside, I look around and I see a pretty strong crowd for the conditions.
Yeah, probably 10, 15 minutes before the game here, I would say there were about 10 people here, and it is filling up now nicely.
Well, and I would say that this sun being out with the low amount of clouds is really making all of the difference here. And if that sun goes behind the clouds, I'm not really sure how that will turn out. It is supposed to get progressively warmer as the day goes, and there goes McCoy. And he'll walk into second with the steal.
With that runner at third, they didn't want to throw through, so he just threw it back to the pitcher. Hold the runner at third. But now second and third, two runners in scoring position with just one out here for Joseph.
And of course, Joseph was one of the top achievers last year. Led the team with 6 dingers, 32 RBIs, second to Gabe Kaufman, and a .460 on-base percentage. And I'll tell you, one of the most memorable experiences, and not just of Central Penn baseball, of my life, was last year's ESAC championship. Of course, Nic Joseph had one of his best games of his career.
Absolutely. Exciting day for the Knights.
We are the back-to-back-to-back ESAC champions.
So three-peat. What's 4? Is that a quad-peat?
I don't think too many people actually do that to actually have a name for it. But yeah, I would imagine it's somewhere in the vicinity of what you're saying. Straight back. That'll mess up our camera.
Right at us. Good thing we had the netting there. Oh, good stop by the catcher there again on the ball in the dirt. Wants to be careful here with Joseph and doesn't want to give him anything too good to hit, but if he walks in, the bases are loaded with 1 out.
And there is a shot to left, and that's going to be foul.
Just getting out in front of some of these pitches a little bit, hitting the ball hard, but McCoy pulled a couple down the left field line. And now Joseph has done the same thing. Another foul backing out of play. Joseph so far on the season, 1 hit and 5 at bats, 2 walks, so he does have a .500 on base percentage. And that's going to load the bases with 1 out for the freshman, Jordan McCann.
Number 23, Jordan McCann.
Bases loaded here for Cullum. He's got serious issues with only 1 out. What he needs is a ground ball.
And McCann, the freshman, is 3 for 8 on the young season. McCann, a local product from Redland High School in Lewisberry.
Certainly a high school with a lot of baseball pedigree.
Absolutely.
And he pops it straight up in the infield. They call the fly roll, and the 2 guys nearly take each other out. Somehow managed to make that catch, Steve.
Yeah, and the shortstop was calling for it the whole way, but the first baseman actually came over there, and they did collide, but he held on.
Those are the scariest situations.
So big spot here for Boyd. They had that runner at third with nobody out, and he's still there with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Tanner takes a strike.
Bases loaded for Boyd. And low. And I'll tell you, if Cullum can somehow get out of this inning, this would be a massive win for Patrick Henry.
Absolutely.
Right on the inside corner, Boyd doesn't offer.
2 strikes on Tanner without swinging the bat, so he's got to protect the plate here, 1 and 2.
Big curveball upstairs.
He doesn't want to go to 3 and 2 here with the bases loaded, so let's see if he gives something Tanner can hit here.
Big fastball. He struck him out. And my gosh, Steve, the Knights had a runner on third with no 1 out. Bases loaded, only 1 out. Can't push anybody home. And as we go to the top of the second, it's still nothing.
Yeah, got to take advantage of those situations. Something else you can take advantage of are Weis Grocery Rewards. Weis Markets is proud to announce their new and improved Grocery Rewards program. Customers can earn and redeem their points to receive free or discounted Weis quality items. Visit weismarkets.com or stop by your local Weis Markets to learn more information.
And we'll take a short break and be Back here with you, Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger. 0-0 after the Knights loaded the bases in the first. Couldn't get anything out of it.
And Smiley was dominant in the first inning with 3 strikeouts, and now he hits the leadoff batter square in the back.
Not what Smiley wanted to do on the first pitch here in the second after he was as dominant as he was in the first. Kozowski, the lefty, the catcher today, and drills the outside corner for a strike.
And the batter asking, was that high or was that outside? Nope, just caught the corner.
Big strike 2.
Pretty much the same spot. In the hole 0-2 now.
Not much of a lead over at first. And hits on the inside corner. 4 strikeouts for Smiley.
Didn't get the bat off his shoulder there, but none of those were right down the middle of the plate. He hit the outside corner twice and came in for that 3rd strike.
Now steps in the third baseman, Field. And he cracks it back on the way over to the Knights dugout.
Sentinels batter having a hard time getting around on Smiley. Most of the foul balls we've seen here have been to the weak side.
Just off the plate. And there's a shot to right. The first base hit allowed. That's going to push the runner over to third base after the single from Field.
Yeah, 1st and 3rd with 1 out now for Patrick Henry. And as you noted at the end of the first there, getting that runner at 3rd with nobody out and then loading the bases with 1 out and not being able to score. Big momentum shift there for Patrick Henry. And now they started here with a hit batter and a base hit to right, and they have 1st and 3rd with 1 out.
There he goes. And that's going to be a stolen base for Field.
Pretty close play there, and the runner at 3rd just stayed put, didn't try to take off after the throw went through. So 2nd and 3rd now with 1 out, 2 runners in scoring position.
Smiley, can he get out of this jam he's got himself into? And he waves at the sweeper.
All 4 outs have been on strikeouts so far, and this would be a big spot to get another one here.
And there he goes. Struck him out. 5 strikeouts on the day for Smiley. To your point, 5 up, 5 strikeouts, 5 outs. And he steps in number 15, Popeil.
Fielders have to stay on their toes out there because they haven't seen a ball yet except for that single to right field.
Big cut. Comes up empty, does Popeil. Two down, but the Sentinels are threatening. And he hits the outside corner with the slider.
Yeah, really good pitch there by Smiley.
And he struck him out. 6 Ks on the day. Gets out of a jam. No harm, no foul. It's still 0-0 as we go to the top of the third. Excuse me, the bottom of the second. My apologies. Hey, they're rusty. We're rusty too. Give me a break over here.
We're working out the kinks. And here's something that I know is near and dear to your heart, Paul. Save the date for Friday, May 29th at 6 p.m. as the CPC film series returns for the spring term. Nightly News Hall of Famer Dylan Bowman and recent graduate Nick Hogan will present a special triple feature of their independent films. More information will be announced at the beginning of the spring term. Save the date for May 29th for this unique event.
Yeah, this is going to be... Dylan has done an event where he did one of his films previously, and that will be one of the films screened. However, they got it professionally rescored.
Wow.
He's also done a new short, and Nick Hogan has been working on a 20-minute animated film. So it's going to be a really interesting event. So save the date, Friday, May 29th, and we'll have all information at the beginning of the spring term about those films. So stay tuned for that. We're going to take a short break. Back here with you, Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger for the Nightly News Media Club, and I'll tell you, it has been an interesting first couple of innings here. Cam Smiley is definitely dealing, but the Knights were able to load the bases. Unfortunately, didn't push any runners across as we go to the bottom of the second inning. Roniel Morel, the senior, again, he was on the podcast with us, checking in on the season that was last year and the season that is to be, I suppose you would say. He's going to be one of the important batters and lefties in the lineup. That's the one thing negative about the lineup. Without Zell, we're very righty heavy. So Morel's going to be a key bat in the middle of this lineup. Of course, Boyd, also a lefty, who we just saw.
And Morel so far only one plate appearance. He drew a walk. Again, a lot of these batters just really trying to get their timing down and haven't had a whole lot to work with so far this year with just those 2 games.
Of course, always got to make sure that we mention every game how much we thank and appreciate the Harrisburg Senators Baseball Club, AA affiliate for the Washington Nationals, and they will start off early October, early April with their home schedule. Also appears we now have a bat boy for the first time.
Go, Jack.
We'll have to get some more details about that.
Leadoff walk there, so let's see if Central Penn can take advantage and bring him around to score. Jack Getty, the freshman now from Annville Cleona High School. Paul, I think the temperature just dropped about 10 degrees between innings.
As soon as that sun went behind that cloud, that's exactly what we were talking about earlier. But there's not a whole lot of clouds, so once that cloud passes through, I think that we should be in good shape. Temperature will continue to rise. And he just gets back in there over at first base. Does Morel. Nothing here. Bottom second. Back-to-back innings, the Knights got the leadoff runner on. And Morel really tested Cullum here. And there's a shot to center field. That'll be cut off for only a single, but that was some good wood, as they say, as Morrell moves up to second.
Yeah, Getty really leveled off on that and just drilled it over the shortstop into left center field there for a hit. So we got first and second with nobody out.
And sort of reminiscent to the last inning with the traffic on the base paths, and there's a bunt. Campbell trying to bunt there, Weston Campbell.
Yeah, good idea there by Campbell with the third baseman back, but he just couldn't keep it couldn't keep it fair.
Well, getting back to the top of that order, you definitely want to get these runners over in scoring position.
And I think there's a good chance if he could have kept that fair that it might have been a bunt single.
And he's gonna, did not show bunt there. Slight breeze starting to pick up there here at FNB Field on City Island. If you've never been here, please do what you can to get here. It's a beautiful park. Certainly catch some Knights baseball, but also, like I said, catch the Senators. If you are interested in checking out the Senators this season, you can go to senatorsbaseball.com. Lots of good prospects coming up for the Nats. Last couple years, we got to see Dylan Cruz and James Wood. And, of course, historically, Bryce Harper and Steven Strasburg, among others.
Among others,
Among
you
others.
see some prospects come through from the other teams as well. I remember being here one time and seeing this guy named Pete Alonso, who drilled a home run to center field, and we know where he's at now, making lots of money with the Orioles.
Just got a piece of that, did Campbell. I actually recall O'Neal Cruz, because I mean, if you know O'Neal Cruz, he's about 6'6", and usually your shortstops are maybe less tall, and Cruz still got like a sore thumb. He has now moved on to center field for Pittsburgh, and there goes Morrell, and he gets in standing up, so they didn't even need to bunt with the double steal.
And a runner from first delayed that steal a little bit to see if they were going to throw down to third, and he took off late. Two runners in scoring position now once again for the Knights. Really important here, I think, Paul, that they capitalize this time and get at least one of those runs home.
And Morrell has already matched his stolen base output from last season. And Campbell is the cue ball, and that's just a really tough play. That ball was spinning so hard, and the Knights put their first run across thanks to a base hit.
Yeah, Campbell got that right off the end of the bat, and as you said, just a lot of spin on that ball, and third baseman tried to make a play on it, but just couldn't hang on.
Still brings up second and third for Wilson. And there's a shot to right. And he's just not going to get there, and that's going to score another run. And here, Campbell almost ran through the stop sign over there at third as Getty scores.
David! Yo, you fired up!
Yeah, the outfielder just misplayed that ball right off the bat, came in on the ball, and when he realized it was over his head, just too late to get back. Second and third again.
And again, this is the guy that, if you're the Knights, this is exactly who you want up at the plate right now. Thomas, who did strike out in the first. And And that's straight up in the air. And the pitcher does get it. No one's coming home.
Yeah, Thomas a little frustrated. You know, he's looking to get going here, 0 for his first 9, but he'll get it going. See if McCoy can pick him up here.
Two nothing Knights. Campbell brought one across. Wilson brought one across. And now both of them are on base with only one out.
Tanner had that long at bat in the first inning, kept fouling off pitches.
And McCoy, as I mentioned, the leader of all the USCAA. Yes, he's only played 2 games. One thing I did notice, and I apologize I don't recall the name, but there's a gentleman who in 22 games has a .571 batting average.
Wow.
From a school in Florida. And there's a shot, nearly hit Campbell. And again, it just seems like McCoy's just getting out in front of these balls. He laced a couple down the left field line, but just foul.
Yeah, he's hit the ball hard. He just needs to time one of these just a little bit better, and he might drive in 2 runs here pretty quickly.
And there it goes through the 5-hole. And this should be a run. Oh, that's a lot closer than I thought. I thought Campbell had him beat, but gets thrown out at the plate for out number 2. And I'll tell you, as good as the Knights have looked thus far, I'll tell you, they've lost a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, and good job by the catcher there. I mean, he really pounced on that ball when it got past him and made a good throw to the pitcher covering. Good job by the pitcher also to get in there and cover the plate. Just barely got the out.
And McCoy still has an opportunity with a man on third. And there it was again. He was right there. He's just swinging just a touch too early, Steve.
Well, and some of those balls that he's hit down the left field line are those inside pitches that he's getting around on. See if he can get one out over the plate a little bit more.
2 strikes on McCoy. And there's that one out over the plate that you said. The right fielder came in, and my gosh, it went over his head by about 30 feet. And McCoy going for 3. And he makes it.
He slides, but he could have made it standing up. Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about. He's been putting good swings on the ball, but a lot of those have been inside pitches that he pulled. And that one was out over the plate, and he just took it to right center field. Right fielder had no play on the ball. It was over his head. Good hustle by McCoy.
So McCoy will add to his USCAA batting average. And another runner in scoring position for Nic Joseph, who walked in the first. Inside. 3-0 Knights. On a beautiful but, as they say, crisp March day.
Yeah, the sun is back out, so it's warmed up again about another 10 degrees.
And that's another inside curveball from Cullum.
Probably getting close to 40 degrees now, I would say.
Well, let's hope it stays there.
Mm-hmm.
Outside.
While we love playing under the lights on City Island, tonight would not be the night we would want to do that.
I will tell you, last year, when my son and I came to opening day for the Senators, was probably the coldest baseball game I've ever attended. I was going to bring this up earlier as the ball gets away from the catcher. This still is not the coldest opening day that I've ever been a part of, Steve. And I remember when Nightly News Athletic Hall of Famer Quentin Heckard pitched a 1-hit shutout in 32-degree weather in the freezing rain back in, I believe, 2018. Quentin as Joseph skies it to center. And this Sun playing havoc with them out there, but does come down with it. Just want to finish my thought there. Heckard posthumously inducted into the Knights Athletic Hall of Fame in a ceremony in the offseason. Man, I got to see his parents, and it was an experience because I got to know Quentin very well, not only being part of the Nightly News and calling their games, but also he was a corporate communications student. And, of course, we continue to think about his family, but always want to recognize the amazing things that Heckard did while he was a student here at Central Penn and a Knight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we miss Quentin. Think about him often and his family. And
I'll never forget that game, though,
Yeah.
because my hands were frozen. I had to go back to my car multiple times, and I went up to Quentin after the game, and I said, man, how in the world, because as a pitcher, you need to be able to feel the ball and the seams of the ball,
Yeah.
and it was freezing rain. I said, how did you do it? And he just played it off like it was nothing. So that's Quentin for you if you know him.
yeah.
All right. Well, one of the things I do want to point out is that we do greatly appreciate the Weis sponsorship. And even though it's cold outside, March is frozen food month, Steve, at Weis Markets. We offer convenient and delicious meals that are ready for you and your family within minutes. Pick up a Weis quality frozen lasagna or mac and cheese and try it for yourself. Eat better, spend less. That's Weis. And I'll also point out, while the gas prices continue to rise, you can always find affordable gas, especially at the Weis in Enola. Now, I'm not going to say I know the gas prices of every single gas station in the area, but consistently the Weis in Enola always comes in as one of the lowest. I just got gas there this morning, a good 30 cents cheaper than other gas stations in the local area. So, and of course, you can always use your rewards points to get even more money off of your gas. So spend more money at Weis, get more money off your gas.
Sounds like a win-win to me.
All right, we're going to head here to the third inning as Smiley continues to dominate. 6 outs in this contest, 6 strikeouts for the ace. And what's he do? He starts off right down the middle to Zemanek. He's the center fielder who made that put out there on Joseph, and looks like it might get through the hole, and it does. And that's a single. Just
good diving attempt there, but just barely out of his reach.
Yeah, Campbell just missed that one. And again, Campbell did play some last season. He's going to have as big of shoes to fill as anyone in Knights history filling in for Owen Zell. And defensively, Owen was a Gold Glove winner from the Nightly News Awards. Certainly last year was the Nightly News Athlete of the Year. So, when you're stepping into a situation like that, it's never going to be easy. That was just a tough play in general. I don't even know if Owen could have made that one. Although if Owen's out there listening, I'm sure he would have has some choice words for me.
And then he'd come on and walk or get a bunt single and steal 2 bases.
Certainly someone we'll never forget here at Central Penn. And there's a shot that's going to be close. And that's out of play. As McCoy gave chase. Back to the top of the order here with Bell, who again struck out. Zemnik at first. Not a very, very big lead, maybe 3 steps. Now he's getting a big secondary lead. Cam runs the count full. Outside, and Smiley in some trouble here. Had allowed 2 runners last inning and got out of it via the strikeout, but now nobody out with first and second. Now, Steve, I guess my question would be, Smiley obviously pitched very well the first 2 innings. How does getting those 3 runs allow you to settle down as you go to the third?
Well, and what you hate to see is you want him to come out and have a shutdown inning here.
It's going to be a tough play. Easy play to third, heads up play.
Yeah, it's a good job to get the lead runner there because he didn't really have a chance at the double play, so definitely the right play there. Yeah, what I was saying was you'd like to have him come out here after getting those 3 runs and have a shutdown inning, and the last thing you really want to do is walk somebody. You know, the hit's one thing, but you really don't want to walk him. But he settled in, got that batter, so we got 1 out now. Let's see, maybe we can turn 2 here and end this inning.
Hope steps in. He also struck out in the first. First and second, Smiley battles, and that's going to be out of play. Every time it goes over there, Steve, I always just question if it hit my car.
I didn't hear anything shatter so far.
I don't know that I ever have, and honestly, it doesn't mean nothing is ever broken up there, but... And there is what appears to be glass over on that new building. Big strike there, 2 strikes. So I'm curious if that's just some sort of unbreakable glass, because you'd have to think that building's going to get hit. I mean, there is the netting in front of it,
yeah.
So that'll protect some of it, but of course, you can easily hit it over that net. And he looks at strike 3, back-to-back strikeouts for Hope, and that was a big strikeout for Smiley with 2 on.
Yeah, good pitch there by Cam. So 2 out now. He's got a chance to get out of this without any damage. Got to bear down and get that 3rd out, though.
7 Ks for Smiley. Oh, and inside. Already hit a batter. Give it to Patrick Henry. They're battling out here.
Yeah, they're hanging in there tough.
I'm still interested in this student-led coaching staff. And again, I'm curious, maybe it is a graduate program or maybe it's seniors. One of the last, who were some of the old player managers? Was Rose a player manager?
Rose was a player manager at the end of his career, yep. Frank Robinson,
yes,
for a little while.
Indeed. They outlawed that at one point. I don't think you can be a player manager anymore. Smiley keeping an eye on the runner at second. And upstairs with a fastball, another strike. They didn't say that they were player managers. They just said they were student-led, so take that for what it is.
I mean, as a career services guy, I think that's a great resume builder, right?
For sure.
To say that you led a college baseball team.
Coming right back up behind us. No question about that, Steve. Two down. And Boyd could not hang on to the foul tip. That could have done it.
Yeah, just got a piece of it.
But, I mean, I don't know if you've ever caught, but, man, trying to hang on to those foul tips is almost impossible with the spin that tip puts on the ball. Two strikes. And he fans another. Steve.
Good job by Smiley there to get out of that after the first 2 batters were on base.
I was going to say, this is the first inning he did not strike out the side. As we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning, Knights lead 3-0.
You know, we're talking about a lot of food here with these Weis reads, and, it's hard to study when you're hungry. The college pantry can help. Central Penn College and your Student Government Association are committed to ensuring that all of our CPC Knights have access to food when they need it. Requests are kept anonymous and can be submitted online. Look for the link under the links section of Student Central or contact Lindsay Garber, Director of Housing and Residence Life at Lindsay Garber at centralpenn.edu. And Paul, you know, the college just recently received a $20,000 grant to help with hunger, and we are designated as a hunger-free campus, so that is something that we are very passionate about.
Absolutely incredible. All right, we're going to take just a short break. We'll be right back. Back here with you, Paul Miller and Steve Hassinger for the Nightly News. Knights lead 3-0. There's a shot to center. And he retires McCahan. Boyd steps in. Boyd struck out in the first to end the inning. There's a shot up the middle for a base hit.
Tanner's second hit of the season there. He was just 1 for 10 before that. So again, a lot of these Knights just looking to find their stroke here and get going in the early going.
And actually, outside of Kyle Brent, the only catcher listed on the roster, interesting that Kyle would be playing catcher. Didn't see him catch much last season. Did not get that from him on the podcast, so we will see how that goes. And checks in over on Boyd at first.
And while I don't think it's his primary position, certainly Jack Getty also listed as first base and catcher. So we'll see if we see the freshman catching.
Though Getty is playing third base today, so it seems like he's a corner. The one thing I do remember Coach Stevens saying is that he's got a little bit more versatility with some of these players this season, and I think you'll see some of these guys all over the diamond. And there he goes, and Boyd with a steal.
They had a really good jump there, so the catcher really didn't have much of a chance to get him at second.
Well, and interestingly enough, if you recall Cameron Smiley's first season, he was a catcher, and one of the better ones, I might add. Don't know that we'll see him behind the plate very much because of his pitching prowess and how much he is needed on our pitching staff. And that's low, but a good stop there from the catcher.
Hey, he's made several good stops today on balls in the dirt.
Kozowski. And Morrell watches one pass by on the inside corner. Looks like they're testing the lights here at FNB Field. It's awfully sunny out to have the lights on, but I'm sure they're testing them to make sure that everything's in working order. High on Morrell, and Morrell will walk again. So 2 walks for Morrell. Stole a base and scored last time around.
All right, Jack, let's go, buddy.
And again, Getty from Annville Cleona High School. Spent some time down in Annville in my day. Very close to in the net. Our former home. And they thought they had Morrell, and the ball gets by the second baseman. And Morrell, that was Boyd, over to third.
Yeah, Morrell to second. High throw there, but it looked like he should have been able to catch that, but it was a high throw, definitely. 2 runners in scoring position again now for the Knights. It sounds like we've said that before today.
And Getty watches the strike go by. And he comes up empty. Hackett on the inside corner, 2 strikes. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Getty with runners on second and third. 1 down for the Knights. Can they push some runners across here? It's low. Runs the count to 2-2.
Go, Jack. Right here, kid. Fight.
Way inside. And after the 1-2 count, he runs the count full.
Go, bud. Right here. Come on, fight.
And they might just put him on with a base open. They do not, but the ball gets away. So there's a strikeout, but a passed ball scores a run as Boyd comes around and Getty strikes out, but ends up on first anyway.
Yeah, they don't even get an out there with the pass ball. So first and third now for the Knights.
Knights lead 4-0. And Campbell, big hack, comes up empty. Yeah, that's not you don't see that a lot in professional baseball, a passed ball strikeout. And there goes Getty. And again, they had him at home, and now they've got him in a rundown over at third base. And
He's going to get back.
Just a poor execution. They had him. They went right back to the pitcher, and just not well executed there from Patrick Henry. They had him dead to rights to at least get a second out here in this inning.
Yeah, that would have been big. Good job by Boyd to get back there, but just didn't throw it back to the third baseman quick enough.
Well, we'll give Roniel Morrell credit for that. Boyd already around to score.
Yeah? Okay. Like we said, we're in our early season here, working out the kinks as well.
100%.
Right?
And I think that's what I struggle to tell people is, we might do, 10 to 15 games, but they're all within about a 6 to 8 week period.
Right.
And then we don't call I do basketball, but calling a basketball game and calling a baseball game are 2 totally different things. So please excuse us. This is our spring training, if you will.
Absolutely. We didn't have a World Baseball Classic either to call.
So disappointing, the effort from the United States team.
Boy, the bats just went dry those last 2 games.
And this had been said before, but just almost no energy, no enthusiasm. When you see the Venezuelans and how excited they were, and just the attitude of the American players, you kind of wonder, maybe they need different leadership. And I know there's been a lot of people talking about De Rosa and was he a good fit? I don't know that he was. But that's neither here nor there, and they have 3 years to figure it out. As Campbell goes down on strikes for the second out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Patrick Henry for Cullum. Only, unfortunately, one of them on second base right now. As we get back to the top of the order for Wilson.
Yeah, he would have had a chance to get out of this inning without any runs if it hadn't been for the pass ball. So, see if Wilson can make them pay for that and drive in these other 2 runs.
Slider off the plate for Cullum. 2 down here. We are in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Knights lead 4-0. And Smiley's cruising. He's had some traffic, but has done really, really well here in his home opener. And there's a cue ball. And smart play there by third to tag the runner, because I don't think he was going to get him at first.
I don't think so either. He had to spin around there after he dropped that, and just heads up, as you said, to put the tag on the runner going right past him.
All right, we'll go to the bottom of the 3rd, and the Knights lead 4-0.
Need a last-minute ingredient for your next meal or dessert? Visit your local Weis markets and purchase our high-quality frozen vegetables or fruit during their Frozen Food Month event. Eat better, spend less. That's Weis.
All right, we're going to take just a short break. We'll be back here with you. Back here with you, Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger. Looks like we have a new pitcher for the Knights. This will be Braden Kipple from York, the sophomore from West York High School. Just wanted to get Cam some action here. Nice home start. See what Kipple can do. Nice delivery, even though it's a little down.
And this Kipple did have one start of those 2 games that the Knights played. He's 0-1, pitched 4 1/3 innings, gave up 2 hits, but 5 walks and 3 earned runs with 1 strikeout.
So definitely going to be looking for him to have a little bit better command here today.
Paul, it's 4-0 Knights. Does it feel to you like it should be about 8-0?
A lot of unlucky breaks, but I got to be honest with you, just really not as much timely hitting as I think that we would want. Come in with the heart of the order coming up, and again, we are pushing some runs across, but absolutely I think the Knights are probably kicking themselves for not being up at least 6-0.
Yeah, it seems like we've had second and third with less than 2 outs all day, and only 4 across so far.
And this is going to be a really tough play, and gave it his all, but comes up empty. McCahan tried to dive for that one, trying to make a highlight reel play. Was unable to come up with it.
Yeah, and even if he had fielded it, I don't know that he would have been able to get up and make the throw in time. Leadoff runner on again, though.
And a little bit low as Kipple misses. Field steps in. Kozowski with that big rip up the middle on first. Interested to see if Patrick Henry might run here. I know they're down 4, but really anything to spark this offense would be a step in the right direction. And another big curveball, obviously, in Kipple's repertoire.
Good stop by Boyd there on a pitch that was well outside.
Definitely is a challenge when you lose a couple of really solid pitchers to being seniors. And there he goes. And he got the strike. Boyd off the mark. Kozowski with a big steal gets a runner in scoring position with nobody out. Does run the count full, though, to Field, who also stole a base in his own right. 1 for 1 on the day. Low and walks him. And this kind of goes back to our point earlier.
Yeah, with the first 2 runners on base here, 1 big hit, and we've got a tight ball game here.
Reed steps in, struck out back in the second. Again, we're playing 2 here today. So if you're out there in a YouTube land, you can come on down after you're doing what you're doing right now. We'll be here for game 2. Quickly 2 strikes, though, from Kipple. And this is a crucial out in this inning.
You do have to dress warm if you're coming out, but you should also bring your sunglasses because it is a bright, sunny afternoon.
Inside.
Big batter here for Kipple with nobody out and 2 on. Certainly don't want to load the bases here. Bring the tying run to the plate.
And he struck him out.
Good pitch.
And Kipple looks like he is changing speeds quite a bit. Looks like he's got a couple of different pitches. He's got the 12-6 curve. Looks like he's got the slider. And, of course, he has a fastball changeup, it looks like. It's my first time seeing him, so fastball upstairs. And Popeil comes up empty. Popeil struck out back in the second. And another offer. And another empty swing.
Yeah, quickly ahead of him, 0-2 here. Trying to pitch out of this first and second jam.
And Steve, with that strikeout, the Knights now have, I'm sorry I'm counting, 10 strikeouts in the first 4 innings.
It seems like it's either been strikeouts or base hits or walks.
It's what they call the old 3 outcome. And I think that's what Kipple's really gonna, and again, I've only seen him pitch to a few batters here, but clearly is changing speeds with regularity. And you have to think that that's going to be a major part of his arsenal. As a runner goes, they have a pitch out. Either that was a pitch out or that was just far off the plate, kind of acted like a pitch out.
Yeah. And a good job by Boyd just to hang on to that ball, because I don't think he could have gained anything by throwing it down there to third. And you risk it going down the left field line and having that run score. He really didn't have a chance to get him.
And, you know, big strike there. For it being the infield, you know, back-to-back ESAC champions, only Tanner McCoy in the infield has been a Knight previously. Struck him out, strikes out the side. Weston Campbell did play last year, but didn't really play the infield much, of course. And after letting 2 guys on and allowing the runners to get to first and third, Kipple strikes out the side as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning.
And Paul, here's something that's near and dear to my heart. Central Penn students and alumni have free access to Handshake, your career management platform, to help you discover new career paths and find amazing jobs and internships. We understand students can be busy, so we've pre-populated some basic information on your profile for you. Go ahead, claim your account by clicking on the tile at My Central Penn, downloading the Handshake app to your phone, or going to joinhandshake.com.
And Steve, recently you had a really, really fantastic event on campus where you invited, it's called Night Shift, you invited several recent alumni to campus to talk about their transition from college to career. Did you want to take any time to talk a little bit about that event?
I'd love to talk about that event. You know, we didn't know what to expect because it was the first time we had done an event like that, so we didn't know what to expect in terms of attendance. I was hoping we could get at least 10 to 15 students out, and we had, I think, 32 people show up that evening. And the recent graduates did a great job. We had graduates ranging from 2002 to 2024. I find as I work with students that transition from college to career is probably one of the more difficult transitions of our life. Probably high school to college, college to career, maybe single to married, you know, but those are definitely some difficult transitions. So they just came back and I really didn't prep them at all. I mean, I gave them some questions that I was going to use to moderate the panel, but we just talked about, you know, what went well for them as they made that transition, what didn't go so well. What would they do differently, and what advice did they have for current students? And our students asked some great questions as well.
And if baseball fans, Knights fans, will know one of the graduates who came. Molly Peters, a former public address announcer here for Knights baseball, now works over in the Capitol building.
Yeah, absolutely, and she loves her job, and, you know, it didn't come easy for her. You know, she didn't just graduate and all of a sudden go to work over at the Capitol building. It took her, you know, 6 to 9 months to land that position.
Well, and she had interned there, so that really helped sort of get her foot in the door. And it just also goes to show you, Steve, how important interns are and the connections that you make there. And
Absolutely.
Even though she didn't necessarily work where she was interning, because she got to know people, networking, she got that position. So congratulations to Molly. But again, another fantastic event put on by Career Services. And of course, you know that I'm one of your biggest fans and supporters.
And we thank you, and we thank you for your support and for encouraging students and bringing students and even recording that session.
And Thomas gets his first base hit of the year, just out of the reach of Patrick Henry's shortstop. And Thomas happy to get that first hit of the 26th season.
Yeah, and I think that'll be the first of many, but yeah, just good to get off the schneid there and get that first hit.
Well, McCoy had the triple back in the second inning, and his USCAA leading batting average. Got to keep an eye on Thomas over there at first and see what kind of lead that he gets. He's taking a pretty strong lead there. And he's going to get back into first base. Ball almost got away from the first baseman there.
Yeah, and I think he was just trying to deke Thomas there and make it seem like it got past him and see if he would stray, but he didn't fall for it.
And Thomas is going. And he gets in there with the stolen base.
Tough pitch to handle there to try to throw him out. That ball was well inside.
Well, and he threw from his knees.
Yeah. Good throw.
Thomas
But he
didn't
just
get the
have time.
best jump, but made it in there safely nonetheless. Here we are in the bottom of the fourth inning. Knights lead 4-0, but to Steve's earlier point, feels like they should be up at least a couple of more runs. And again, McCoy hits the new building.
I think he was going for one of those windows over there that you were talking about earlier. But,
You know, I suppose it's possible that with the height of the netting that
Yeah.
maybe that building won't get hit. But I mean, even if not, it's not. Even if it doesn't get hit regularly, it's still definitely going to get hit. I mean, even off a carom, like even off the bounce, it might go in. So I'm curious what kind of glass is in that facade. And again, just McCoy just so close. Just if you could just wait a half a second to swing, that's probably at least 6 or 7 foul balls that he has smoked down the third baseline, but that have ended up foul.
yeah, and you can see Tanner just kind of shaking his head a little bit.
I mean,
there,
there's really
like,
that's all you can do.
So close. And he is up pretty good in the batter's box there.
And there he does the exact opposite. Does move the runner.
That pitch was down and away, and he just went with it.
Number 13, Nic Joseph.
So Joseph's got a runner on third and 1 out. So a fly to the outfield could make it 5-0 pretty easily.
And we've seen quite a few pitches in the dirt, so one gets by the catcher. That could also score that run. That one's low.
I was going to say, and the first pitch in the dirt. And that's why you're our color commentator, Steve. Love the black jerseys. We haven't had the chance to talk about that. And actually, the players were very excited to break out the black jerseys today. And there is a shot to deep left. Goes way back. And that is gone. Nic Joseph with the big-time shot to left field. And that is going to make it 6-0 Knights for Joseph. What a shot.
Back in the Ollie's cheap seats back there. Nobody sitting back there today, but, well, he really got around on that.
And that's the Central Penn College
6-0.
Nic Joseph.
And Nick led the team last year with 6 big home runs. That is the first home run on the season for the Knights, so that can be one of the trivia questions that we have. Who hit the first home run for the Knights on the season? And that's just smoked down the line from McCahan.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of air up there, but the air was not needed on that ball that Joseph smoked.
Now batting number 6, Tanner Boyd.
And McCahan went on the first pitch and rocketed that pitch for a single. As Boyd comes up, he struck out in the first, singled, stole a base, and scored. And there he goes, McCahan with the steal.
In there pretty easily.
And it seems like the Knights are just going on first move from the pitcher. And unfortunately, the catcher for Patrick Henry just has not been able to throw anybody out. Kozowski. Does get that first strike on Boyd.
Come on, Tanner, you're good.
Paul, what do you think about that new ABS system in the major leagues?
Obviously, it is needed. And there's a shot. This is a pretty straightforward play, but the first baseman not on the bag.
Yeah, I'm
That
not
was
sure.
just a strange play.
I'm not sure what the first baseman was thinking there because it was clearly the second baseman's ball to field, and he just never went over and covered the base. We're going to have Darwin Cruz come in here and run at first base for Boyd.
First and third. ABS, I think the one thing I don't want are the robo-umps. I still need to see the home plate umpire. And listen, we're human beings, and there was a lot of calling for it in the WBC in the way the U.S.-Dominican Republic game ended. And there's a first pitch again, immediate steal from Cruz. A four-sport athlete, Steve. Played basketball, played baseball, soccer, cross country. Impressive. Nightly News reporter Arsenio Humphrey working on a story to chronicle Cruz, which we hope to have up at the beginning of next term. As Morrell takes a strike.
Well, I agree with you on the ABS. I still want to see the umpires. I was concerned that it was going to slow the game down even more, but hearing that the average time it's taking is about 12 seconds.
And that seems like a lot. Big hack from Morrell, comes up empty. Morrell walked twice, stole a base, and scored.
And once again, the Knights have runners at second and third.
After 2 in, McCoy was out, so there's 1 down, and there's Morrell. This is going to be out of play off to our left. And again, this term I got to have Ron Yell in one of my classes. Such a great guy. Brought a lot to the class. We got to talk about all types of things, and always a pleasure to have Ron Yell. It's always a pleasure to have the Knights baseball team in class. Of course, we get along well because they know that I do the contests here on YouTube. And we'll be back here with you Friday afternoon.
And speaking of class, this is finals week, so for any Knights who still have final projects and exams the next 2 days, best wishes for them for success.
And if you're done with your finals, Steve, I found out that tomorrow there will be a special NCAA watch party in the Learning Hub. And that will be starting at about noon, all the way through the end of the first section of games. They usually take a break around 6 o'clock. That'll be sponsored by the Student Activities Department. And there's a straight up. And again, so there's a situation where that's the second time the pitcher has fielded his own position. You almost never see that in the bigs.
You do not. Yeah, one was pop foul down the first base line. That was pop foul down the third base line. He fielded them cleanly. And they were also, I believe, both with runners at second and third and less than 2 outs. And those are the types of things that they can get away with that in this game against Patrick Henry, but later on in the season, those kind of at-bats are going to be really clutch.
Well, you also have to wonder, Kyle Brent and Gabe Kaufman just off the top aren't in this contest, nor is Terrell Smith-Cole. Again, 3 stalwarts of the team, so it seems like that it's almost like everybody is going to get some playing time today because it has been almost a month. I mean, they last played Clarion on February 14th, so it's been more than a month, Steve. But yet they'll have 8 games in 8 days here. So I think the key for Coach Stevens is to try to get everybody involved here this week as much as possible.
Yeah, these at-bats are important. Played on Valentine's Day and now playing the day after St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, and I mean, anybody who's been around here knows that huge snowstorm we got that turned into ice and snowcrete. That caused issues, and then we got some serious rain and some additional snow, and sandwiched in between 70-degree days.
Yeah, in some places,
perfect spring Pennsylvania weather.
Monday here it was 65, and then we got snow Monday night.
Getty strikes out for the second consecutive inning. We will go to the top of the fifth. The Knights lead 6-0 after the huge Nic Joseph home run.
With Weis Market's Holiday Rewards program, customers can redeem their Weis Rewards points for a free or discounted ham, turkey, lamb, and more. Customers can redeem their points from March 26th to April 5th. Visit weismarkets.com for more information. Eat better, spend less. That's Weis.
We'll take a short break. We'll be back here with you, Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger. Kipple back out there on the mound.
One big cloud hiding the sun again for a little while here.
And low and away. That'll be outside. Kipple struggling to find the plate here.
Let's see if we can avoid having the leadoff batter get on here.
Big cut. Back to the top of the order. 3 of 4 innings, Steve. The Knights struck out the side, and the other, there were 2 strikeouts. This is Boyd. Does he have a chance? No, that'll be out of play. Upstairs. Can Kipple get this batter? And there's another one fouled straight back. This is going to be a tough play, and he cannot come up with it. Jack Getty. I mean, that was going to be a tough play no matter what.
Yeah, he might have had a chance if he had fielded it cleanly and made a strong throw, but he tried to rush it and just couldn't come up with it.
A lot of new faces here for Central Penn. Of course, you can always go to centralpennknights.com for all of the information, live stats, rosters, schedules. Very big roster this year for Coach Stevens. So it's going to be interesting how that plays out. Of course, a lot of leadership here from Roniel Morel, Nic Joseph, Kaufman, who's a senior. he's getting ready to go on internship. I've gotten to have him in class as well this term. And Kipple delivers. Popped up. This is going to be out of play, but there's at least a shot. And McCoy able just off the screen, just outside of the view of our first base camera.
Yeah,
able to come up with that.
Looked like it was going to be out of play, but a little bit of backspin on that ball, I think, just brought it back enough for McCoy to make the catch.
And 2 up, 2 down for Kipple here at the top of the order. And thankfully for us and the fans, the sun back out. Hope had struck out twice today, the 3-hole hitter for Patrick Henry. And there he goes.
Boy, good throw there by Tanner. Right on the money.
And my apologies, that is now 2 outs as Bell gets thrown out at second base by Boyd. Great play all around for the Knights. Those are the types of plays you like to see, Steve.
Absolutely.
Just gets a piece of it, but foul.
Hope trying to hang tough here. Now, Paul, if this was the 7th inning, would he be Patrick Henry's last hope?
I suppose he would be. Now, I will say, and this can't just be obvious to me, is when Kipple does throw that slider, he definitely steps. It's almost like he's tipping the pitch because he's stepping a little bit further to his right, our left, before he throws that pitch. So it's definitely something that I'm sure Coach Stevens will bring to his attention. Just off the plate, and he walks him.
Coach Stevens has been known to view the recordings of the games
but
afterward.
Of course.
So I'm sure he'll be tuning into that piece of advice.
He doesn't need my advice. Big. Oh, and he had him at first. And another play where the Knights absolutely could have gotten him out there. And he was just hung out to dry there was Hope. And, you're giving him a steal there, but just not the throw that McCoy was looking for. And, in all fairness, I've played some first base in my life. That's the toughest throw when you're right evenly because you don't want to hit the runner.
Yeah, and I'm sure he was right in the view.
So he tried to go over top and just a little too north. So Slemmer hit by the pitch to lead off the second inning, struck out in the third. So 0 for 1. And big cut. Strikes him out. And that will do it. So we will go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Knights holding on 6-0.
Calling all gamers, Central Penn College was recently accepted into the National Association of Collegiate Esports. We are now a part of the association that boasts more than 130 schools and over 3,000 student athletes. If you have any interest in the Central Penn Gaming Club or the esports program, please reach out to Club Advisor Donnie Lewis.
Take a short break and we'll be back here with you. Back here with you. Paul Miller and Steve Hassinger here for Patrick Henry. Aquino now comes in, number 83. Good showing today from Cullum as Campbell steps in. Singleton scored back in the second, struck out in the third. We're in the bottom of the fifth inning. Knights lead 6-0. And the side armor walks Campbell on 4 pitches.
Now batting number 9, Jamarcus Wilson.
And Jamarcus Wilson steps in. Wilson reached base on an error back in the first, and also reached base on an error in the second. And there goes Campbell, and he almost had him on the backside. And Aquino throws it outside and is yet to find the plate.
Interesting delivery. A little bit of a sidearm delivery.
Just high.
So it's just like at the farm, and then you have different.
And does find the plate there. Taken all the way was Wilson. And there he goes. A really ill-advised play, and Campbell didn't even slide.
What's he saying?
I'm not really sure what happened because the umpire there called timeout, unless he's saying it was a balk.
That's the only thing I can
That's,
think of.
yeah, that's realistically the only thing it could be, because Campbell was definitely ill-advised to take off there.
We took off too early.
I thought the third base umpire was calling time for some reason. I didn't see Campbell leaving the field, even though he looked fairly clearly out without a slide.
Yeah, obviously had to call a balk.
And Wilson does get the strike call. 6-0, Knights lead, threatening again with no one out here in the bottom of the fifth. And Wilson takes another ball for the walk. Wilson has reached base 3 times.
Catcher giving a lot of signs there to his fielders.
And Thomas stepped in, singled, stole a base, and scored last time around. And Wilson on another balk. And the runner will score on back-to-back balks. That's not something you see very often, Steve.
No, it is not. And really, in both cases, it was the runner taking off very early there that unnerved the pitcher. And there he goes again, but the pitcher comes home that time and hits him in the back.
Now batting number 43, Cameron McCoy.
7-0 now. Knights lead as McCoy comes up. 1 for 2 and a walk with an RBI. And, you know, the Knights are just not even trying to not run here. Doesn't seem like Aquino has got a very good move. And I would imagine Thomas would also be off and running here.
Kind of a long windup.
And honestly, at this point, I guess I just don't understand why they're not just giving him the base, but I guess you can't just give him the base. As Wilson scores, making it 8-0. And I'd say at this point, the Knights are going to try to get to that lucky number 10. And move along to game number 2, as it's now 8-0 Knights. Big strike there from Aquino. Trying to give McCoy a chance to walk it off.
The other pitchers were pitching Tanner inside quite a bit. Staying away from him in this at-bat.
Just high, and McCoy will walk.
Putting that potential 10th run on base now.
4 consecutive walks, 3 and a hit by pitch. And Joseph, the massive shot off of Cullum in the last inning. And it looks like they're going to swap out Aquino with 4 consecutive walks, and we'll take a All right, Nic Joseph, the massive home run in the last inning. 1 for 2 on the day with 2 RBIs, and did also reach base by a walk. Outside, and at this point Patrick Henry is really struggling to really get anybody out here. 4 consecutive walks, no one down. outside and off the plate.
Two and 1 to Joseph now.
This is Field on the mound, not to be confused with new Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Justin Fields.
I'll tell you what, I've said it numerous times, but this catcher has really made some good stops on balls in the dirt.
Short of the maybe annoying breeze, I'd say this actually turned out to be a decent day.
It turned out to be better than I thought it would, absolutely. And like I said, the Knights just happy to be out on the field.
And Joseph in a good play there at third, looking for the double play. Little high. Thomas out, so basically just trading a runner there for an out.
Now batting number 23, Jordan.
Joseph with the fielder's choice. McCoy now at second. Joseph at first. McCahan singled and stole a base, is 1 for 3 on the afternoon as the slider gets across there for Field. Curveball upstairs. Another curveball high.
Let's see if McCahan can get a pitch to drive here. Got that 10th run at first base.
He struck him out.
I think that's just 2, Paul.
Oh.
2 and 2.
Well, the ump rung him up, and we don't have the scoreboard to go with, so I'm relying on the umpire.
He did.
I figure he knows the count better than I do. Inside. Guess I will run the count full. He rung him up, though, right? I'm not seeing things.
It looked like he did ring him up, yeah. Even though he had just given the count as 2 and 1.
Three-two. And there's a shot. This is going to be tough in the gap. This is all the way out to almost the wall. Great play there from the center fielder for Patrick Henry. Zimnick.
Yeah, he just got under that a little bit. If there was a little less height on that ball, he wouldn't have been able to catch up to it. But it hung up there long enough for the center fielder to make the catch.
Well, and Steve, that's the by far deepest part of the park. This is one of these odd fields with the dimensions here that's actually further to the power alleys than it is to dead center field, which is something that you don't always think about, but he hit it at that 405, and he probably hit it every bit of 400 feet.
Yeah, probably so.
As Boyd steps in. Struck out, a single, a stolen base, and a run back in the third, and reached on an error and another stolen base. So 2 steals here on the day for Tanner Boyd. It's going to be outside with the curveball. It's been sort of an odd defensive game for Patrick Henry because they made some errors on some fairly easy plays, but they've made some really good defensive plays as well to keep this game, within striking distance, I suppose.
Yeah, they've played hard and kept it close, relatively close. We were saying earlier when it was 4-0, it felt like it should be 8-0. Now it is 8-0.
Certainly been all Central Penn here, though. And another great stop. And walk to load the bases for Roniel Morel. 0 for 1, but has walked twice and scored. Base hit here should do it. I believe the 10-run rule is in effect in the 5th inning.
Cruz is going to run again for Boyd.
Upstairs and away. And Morel has shown he is willing to take the walk. The senior, one of the senior leaders on the team. That's downstairs again. A couple of seniors on the roster sheet this year. Jordan Spatafor, Mr. Morel, Wyatt Kozer, Cameron Smiley, Gabe Kaufman. Of course, we're just starting this season, so we don't want to look forward to next season and the impact those losses will make. But this is the nature of college sports, unless, of course, you're in playing Division I football, and then you can play for 8 seasons.
Especially with those COVID years.
Yeah, and that's one of the good things that at least I hope that we'll see in D1 sports is now that we're removed from COVID, hopefully these, folks aren't playing for 6 and 7 years. I mean, there are people, I want to say I just heard someone's going to have their 8th season.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be 26, 27 years old before they leave college athletics. As the sun goes behind the clouds again. And Morel wanted that one. Let it go, though. He was loading up to take a swing at that, but thought better. And he just got a piece of that. This is going to be a really tough play. He's going to get Morel, and that will end the inning as the Knights leave the bases loaded as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Knights hanging on to an 8-0 lead.
Paul, I have a question. Are you a busy bunny this Easter? No problem. Weis Markets has store-made rotisserie chicken and hand-tossed pizza. Customers can also check out our heat and serve meals that are great for on the go. Eat better, spend less. That's why.
Steve, far be it for me to be critical of your commentary, but when you usually ask someone a question, you wait for them to answer it.
Well, I don't know. Are you a busy bunny this Easter?
I will be going to Jim Thorpe on Easter this year. I'm going up for the weekend. I've never been there. And Nightly News Hall of Famer Parker Rose is going to give me the lowdown on what I need to do while I'm up there. But we will be returning for our Easter dinner with family, but we will be in Jim Thorpe that weekend. So I guess you could say, yes, I will be.
I've been to Jim Thorpe once, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, you'll have to fill me in with some other things to do. All right, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back here with back here with you, Paul Miller and Steve Hassinger for the Nightly News. Be here with you for all the Knights home games this season. Kipple still out there and dealing. As we're here in the top of the 6th, and the catcher, who, my gosh, has had really an incredible defensive showing today, Kozlowski. He's 1 for 2, stole 2 bases, and was the only one of 2 players for Patrick Henry to reach third base.
And, of course, with an 8-0 lead, he doesn't want to come out and walk the leadoff hitter. Gets a strike there on the outside corner.
Looked to be a generous call.
Yeah, I was thinking that, too. But we'll take it.
Of course. And right down Broadway, I'm not sure what Kozlowski's waiting for. They got to get something going here if they're going to make any kind of statement here against the Knights. And that's going to be right back up the middle to Kipple. He gets out of the way. And a good play by the Knights.
Good play, strong throw there to get him by step. Keeping that leadoff hitter off the base this inning. Patrick Henry has had that leadoff batter on quite a few times today.
And, I got to give Kipple credit there because one of the toughest things has to be fielding your position as a pitcher.
What's up, girl?
Because that ball came right at him, and all you really want to do is stick your glove out or stick your foot out, and that's usually not the best idea because, as we saw, the shortstop had a beat on it.
Yeah, so often you do that, you tip it and the ball changes directions and there's no play.
Upstairs from Kipple. Right down Broadway. And a 1-2 count. Can Kipple strike out field? Pitcher on pitcher. And he struck him out with the big slide piece.
Yeah, good pitch there, catching the inside part of the plate.
Just a little bit after 4 o'clock here, as we're in the top of the 6th. The Knights would just have to push 2 runs across here to close out this contest and move on to game 2. Fastball from Kipple.
Let's see if we can get a 1-2-3 inning here.
Pinch hitter for Reed, this is Watkinson, number 31. Also, and I made this comment to Steve earlier, but they also in their bullpen have a gentleman named by the last name of Bedrosian. Not sure if this is related to Steve or Cam, as you mentioned. I'd forgotten slightly about Cam. And this could be a tough play. And Campbell does come up with it and makes it happen. And that will retire the side 1-2-3 inning to Steve's point. We're going to go to the bottom of the 6th, see if the Knights can finish this game off.
Ever consider working on campus? Visit the financial aid office to learn about work-study opportunities for students. Positions are available across campus, the front desk, the learning hub, athletics, and more. Students must have been enrolled for at least 1 full term and be in satisfactory academic standing. Contact Amy Lloyd in the financial aid office for more information.
Coach Stevens coming out and talking to the umpires and just trying to listen in on what the conversation is about. We'll take a short break and we'll come back and let you know. Back here with you, Paul Miller, Steve Hassinger. We are just going to move on to game 2. They're going to give the Knights the 8-0 victory here in the first. Steve, as we just close the book on this particular game, I think it's fair to say that the Knights, while a win is a win, I think there's probably some areas that they would like to have improved. What is your read on this contest?
Yeah, I think Coach Stevens is going to have plenty of things to tell the team they need to work on yet. But it was good to get some players in there who have not had much experience so far. Only 2 games earlier this year, as we've been talking about. So the Knights put some good swings on the ball. We didn't have too many 1-2-3 innings there. So Patrick Henry kept getting runners on through walks and a few hits. But the Knights were in control the whole game. It just we kept saying that It was 4-0, and it felt like it should have been 8 or 9-0. Eventually did get to 8-0. So we'll see how game 2 goes here. But again, the Knights just happy to get on the field.
Well, with that finish and rather, what are the anticlimactic conclusion to this game, we're going to have Nightly News co-players of the game. Of course, Cameron Smiley came into this game and, I mean, struck out the side in the first 2 innings. 3 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts, no runs, 2 walks. And also, of course, you got to give the nod to the first home run of the season for the Knights, Nic Joseph, the massive shot to left field. So Weis Knightly News player of the game will be Cameron Smiley with 3 innings and 8 strikeouts, and Nic Joseph with the massive home run, the first of the season for the Knights. We're going to sign off. For Paul Miller and Steve Hassinger, we'll be back here with you in about 20 minutes for Game 2. We'll see you then.